This podcast is sponsored by Vicon, the Academy Award-winning developer of motion capture products and services for the life science, entertainment and engineering industries. Shogun, Vicon's visual effects software, developed specifically for the needs of the VFX community, captures performances effortlessly, in real time, and delivers robust, accurate, reliable data. The latest release of Shogun now includes full range of motion, high-fidelity finger capture, along with other massive quality-of-life improvements, so you can capture reality faster. Find out more at www.vicon.com.
Oh, hello, Internet. This is Troy Baker, and I'm here with your lovely, very, very British host, Victoria Atkin. And this is the Performance Capture Podcast.
The fact that I get to bridge this weird world between performer but fangirl first, let's be real, is so dope.
I kind of created my position. Nobody said, here you go to school to become a performance capture producer. I pretty much created my own career.
If there's something that you're curious about, or if you have any questions, go out and find the answers for yourself.
What I think I love the best about it is just its family environment.
The dots can tell if you're lying.
Hi, my name is Victoria Atkin, and you're listening to the Performance Capture Podcast sponsored by Vicon. Today, I am extremely excited to announce another fellow actress who is extremely established in this world and television and film, and she's just blowing up and is really very exciting to have her. And she's just joined the SAG-AFTRA National Performance Capture Committee. Can you introduce yourself, your name, and where you grew up, please?
I'm JANINA GAVANKAR, and I grew up in Joliet, Illinois.
And you spent most of your childhood there, or?
Yes, yeah. Really lucky, though. My parents, dragged us around the world, so we got a global perspective really young. I'm the child of immigrants, so they were pretty adamant about us understanding that there's more to this world than just America.
America, yeah. Well, I only discovered it at 25 years old. But where did you go? Did you go to school in different places as well?
No, we had this duality of the completely, normal Midwestern public school system. And then every time there was any hiatus from school, we were just kind of whisked off to a lot of Europe, a lot of, I'm also a quarter Dutch, so I have a weird Euro upbringing. It's very strange. I know I'm brown, but my mom is half Dutch, so this weird kind of Euro side.
And we're going to get back to Dutch because we both worked with Guerrilla Games, who are a great Dutch company. Anyway, before we get there,
sure.
Please can you tell us your professional title, we ask people.
Ooh, what do I get paid for?
Yeah, what would you say your job is? What do you...
So most people know me as an actor, but I'm also a writer-director, and I grew up as a very serious musician.
Oh, great. Do you sing, or is it...
I play piano, percussion, and I sing.
Wow, I like that. What age did you start playing piano?
4.
Wow.
I was almost a percussion performance major in college, so it was a really big part of my life.
And you studied music at school? Did you gear your studies towards that, or was it acting? Or
no, acting came very late, and I think it's completely strange that I ended up in front of the camera in any way. I don't know how I know how I got here, but if I would have told my, my 13-year-old self, this is going to be your life, I would have,
What did your 13-year-old self want to do?
I wanted to be a blue man.
Oh, I know a blue man. A good friend of mine is Ethan Gullub. He is a blue man.
Oh, fab.
Oh, yeah. He's great.
Yeah, I'm not tall enough.
Really?
They are sticklers about that height. Because I truly was I could still do it now. It'd be fun. They're sticklers. You had to be 5'10" or... It dashed my dreams when I was in
And that's still
college.
the case?
Still the case.
We ask everybody on this show, what would you say is performance capture for you from your experience?
It's the capture of performance. So it's the technological capture of performance, right? So we do exactly what we would do if we were on camera and or on stage, and they capture all of it.
And how did you discover performance capture? You've got some great titles under your belt now that you've done that we are going to get to, and this lady's done Star Wars. That's just we all know that. But how did you discover it? How did you get into it? And what was your first gig? I know you did Far Cry 4 as well.
Yeah, that was my first performance capture
Okay.
gig. So I am a late bloomer gamer. I'm a late bloomer in a lot of ways, actually, guys. But that's a different podcast.
Okay.
So I started playing video games in 2007 and was like, how do I get in does anyone want me to be in a game? Like, I really was like, please, someone. And then I auditioned for Far Cry and was cast.
Did that audition, because I talk to a lot of actors about how these auditions come. So I was like, well, how do you get an audition performance capture? Was that through a voiceover agent or an on-camera agent?
So, okay, let me take it back a little bit. So I started gaming in 2007, and I started using Twitter in 2006. So I was tweeting a lot, and Ubisoft saw that I was like an authentic gamer and that I really liked Assassin's Creed. So they asked me to be part of the marketing campaign for Assassin's Creed 3 before Black Flag. So I think that was 3. And, dude, they basically were like, we want you to come to Montreal. We're going to give you a tour, and all we need is to be able to follow you around with a camera. It was the dopest thing. It was like a dream, you know. It was like a fangirl dream.
I love how Ubisoft do that. They are really great with, I guess at that point you were a fan,
yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's the thing. I still am. Like, I was a part of a marketing thing this week for Death Stranding, and like the fact that I get to bridge this weird world between performer but like fangirl first. Let's be real, and the fact that they like call me and ask me to be a part of something like that is so dope. And because I'm not really beholden to the games industry, I say no to a lot of stuff. So, you know, like, it's just, I can't believe that this is my life now. It's really, really cool. So, okay, the first thing that anybody asked me to do was this thing. I go to Ubisoft, I meet the team, and I'm interested in the developers. I'm interested in the process. They took me to this basement. I signed my life away, you know, NDA-wise. And they took me to this basement, and they showed me all the concept art for Black Flag.
Oh, wow.
Do
you know Matt Ryan? He's the lead in Black Flag?
No, I don't. Okay. So that's the thing. It's like, I'm not obsessed with the talent, the actors. Because I'm like, yeah, I got it. I'm interested in the Spielbergs.
Yeah.
You know, that's who my friends have eventually become. Like, I'm friends with game devs. That's who I want to know, because they're the ones, I can't wrap my head around what they do, you know? So, okay. So I did that. And then I think that it was very serendipitous that I am partly South Asian, and Far Cry took place in a Himalayan-esque kind of place. And so I kind of applied to that kind of offering, and I just like fought for it with every fiber of my being. I wanted it so badly. And and then oh God, and Troy and I actually had a really funny moment. I think it was the first time. I hadn't even met him yet. I was obviously like a fan, and he's really one of the greats. But I knew he was working on it. But he was getting on a plane as I was getting off a plane, maybe the same plane, to Vancouver. And I was like, we were texting each other, and I was like, okay, I'm getting off the plane now. We're at the same gate. And I don't know if I can explain this well, but basically I forgot that I had to go through customs. So there was this double pane of glass between us, but we could see each other through this glass. So I sort of just like put my entire body on the glass next to him, and I was like, this is as close as we're going to get.
This is a great first meeting.
Yes.
It's almost like a prison experience.
It was like I frogged myself on the glass and was like, try. This is as close as we're gonna get. Oh, and then he got on a plane, I got off a plane.
Have you met him in person since that?
Oh yeah. He asked me to.
Or is that just what you do?
No, now we always need
glass.
a double pane of glass between us. Just to protect us from
gaming
combustion.
out.
Yeah.
That's
he's great.
He's wonderful.
Yeah,
We've had him on this podcast in this season, and he's just the best.
Yeah, he's one of the greats. He really is, and I think he'll continue to be. You know, he has a wide, diverse career ahead of him. He, like my creative partner and I, we write and direct together, and we're constantly. I mean, he doesn't know this, but
thinking of Troy.
Oh, always. We have 2 things actually. We don't know what's going to go first, but we have like.
That's great.
But the thing is, you don't want to. You write for the people you want to work with,
yeah.
And then you don't call them until it's a real thing.
Yeah,
that's what I
that's
try.
LA. You have to.
I'm just constantly checking people's avail. Like, hi, what are you doing in spring?
Yeah.
Are you booked yet? Great, because then I can fight for them for the project.
That's cool, and I love that you're creating projects as well as performing them. That's really, really exciting. So what I've seen as a thread through this podcast, talking to different people, is that people are stumbling across it, but always through an enthusiastic point of view. So they're coming from it doing something they love, like gaming or acting or animation, or just and they have this huge curiosity, and then it seems to bloom, and they're not quite sure. All of us not quite sure how it's going to. And then with the performance capture stages there.
Yeah, well, there's sort of like, I feel like two things going on here in this side of the world. It's like, because we are a community, we're protective of each other, and we're not elitist, exclusionary gatekeepers, but we do sort of hold ourselves to a standard. So if you want to be a part of this community, you better bring it.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people that are like, how did you, I really want to. And I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah.
The dots can tell if you're lying.
That's right.
I
mean, you can't hide those dots. So what's your favorite thing about motion capture?
Well, it's two things. So one, the creators in the games industry are just forced to be technically proficient in so many various areas as well as an artist, that the workload for creators in the games industry is just high. It's just heavier, and so it's a certain kind of brain that might be perceived as smarter by people like me. There's that, and of course, just trying to put myself in any scenario with brains like that that I can. So there's that, and as a performer, it is. I'm sure everybody has said this on almost every single episode you've done, but it's incredibly freeing. So I'm a theater-trained actor, and I have built a career, thankfully, on camera. But they are two different techniques, and I combine them when I'm doing performance capture, because especially in Star Wars, and working with this director, Tom Keegan, who I'm obsessed with, and you should really bring in as well. He's the best director I've ever worked with in any medium.
Wow.
Period, end of story. I will follow that man into the depths. He requires you to show all the way up as an artist. And you're like, if this man has the guts to take me aside and talk about a moment in his life that causes so much hurt, to be able to conjure something in this moment when this character's just walking from here to there. Just like we gotta fly to this planet, and that's what it could be. But he turns it into something that is so grounded, and uses the substitution method, and really is rooted in technique. He's that. I'm not gonna swear. He's that guy.
Yeah.
So there's that. So in Star Wars, working on Star Wars with him, he often would say, especially on our first week, do less. And I was like, are you sure? Is this going to pick up? And he's like, trust me. So there's a lot of close-ups that after that first week, I was like, okay, now I see how they're going to shoot this. I see how they're going to edit these cinematics. I can come in big, and I can be physically as big as I would be on stage, but I know that I can make this other moment, incredibly intimate, and I can just feel. I can do exactly what I would do on camera, and know that that the dots will pick up a lie, and will capture it, capture the performance.
Yeah. So we began talking about Star Wars, and you and I have also worked on a title called The Frozen Wilds by Horizon Zero Dawn, which is very, very exciting. Didn't know, because as when we work on games, unless you're actually on the stage or in the room, you don't realize until you look at somebody else's IMDb and go, oh, we did the same game.
We've technically worked together.
Yeah. So you did that, and you also did Star Wars, of course.
I had 100%ed Horizon Zero Dawn before I went and did the DLC.
Isn't that game the most?
Also, Ashley Birch.
Ashley Birch. We need her on this show too.
Yeah, sure.
Although in Horizon Zero Dawn, the first game was just voice.
Yeah.
And some facial capture, perhaps. I'm not sure. I think it just was voice. I know there was.
No, I'm sure. I have because when we did Frozen Wilds, she was there, and
for the DLC, yes, but the main game, I don't think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
They just that animation team is incredible. Yeah, but Ashley, you've got to bring it. I love her.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with her. She's
She's
a special
we
human.
love that girl.
Also a creator. She's totally she's making her
she's
own
always
work.
writing stuff and making things happen in this town. So can you tell us a specific experience? You said about Tom Keegan, who I just really hope one day that I get to work with this guy too, because I've only heard amazing things. But can you tell us an experience that specifically you enjoyed on the motion capture stage, maybe a particular scene that you're talking about, or even just some funny thing that's happened being in the Lycra, or whatever you want to tell us. We just always ask about a specific experience.
Well, I mean, I have so many things I could say.
bet.
Specifically on Battlefront II, which is the Star Wars title. I'm not. It's funny, this word method is overused and it's been bastardized. It's mostly been bastardized by like hyper machismo dudes that act out and then call it part of the process, which is, like no woman can actually do that. Like, oh, really? So just the dudes are method? Cool. But the truth is that method is based on a technique that you learn, and I'm pretty rooted in all that good juicy stuff. Just choosing some physicality or some like some things that you can root yourself in, that you can immediately drop into physically, especially in performance capture, right? So from me in Battlefront, I took my GAC, like my packs and everything, and I asked them to basically snatch it so it was so tight to my ribs that it felt almost corseted. I was trying to just use all of the GAC as to mimic what my armor would be. And it really worked for me because it caused a posture that I could really drop into really fast. Because, with these schedules, and I don't know if everybody knows this at home who's listening, or in your car, or
Driving on the freeway.
or in an elevator, trying not to talk to the people around you. For at least for that game, we would do a week on, 3 weeks off. And then in those 3 weeks, I'd be in the studio doing voiceover. But, you do a week on, and then they take all of that data. They make sure that it all is tracking and that it's all worked. And then you'll come back the first week of the next month and maybe reshoot something or et cetera. So that was kind of the grind for that project. And, but I was also working on other projects, as we all do, It's not like a TV show where you show up every day. You're doing 16 hours a day, and you just live in these people for an extended period of time. So that was really helpful. And they kind of thought I was, are you sure? Yes, pull it harder,
Yeah, and there's, obviously we've discussed on this podcast before that there are no props costume set for performance capture, but you can do things like that. I wore heel boots that they put markers on for Evie Fry in Assassin's Creed because I wanted to make sure the walk, as we know as women, when you walk with heels, is completely different.
Your spine changes,
And in the Victorian age, there's no way that she would wear flats.
Well, the irony is, weren't some of the boys wearing heels back then too?
Yeah, that's...
How historically accurate is this, Ubisoft? Anyway,
there is a really great cross-dressing character in the game. Actually,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
really, really great. Yeah. Ned. Oh my goodness, I should know this. I made the game. Anyway. And it was done by Ferilith Young, who's a fantastic actress.
I loved jumping from train to train as you.
Yes, you did.
Good.
Did you complete Syndicate?
I don't think I did actually, which is rare for me.
We should play it together.
I would love that.
We should do that. I've never played it.
Really?
I don't have a console, so you can show me.
Who are you?
I know. I made it, so I know what happens.
No, it's different, girl.
I know.
Are you a gamer?
Not now. I have a tiny little son.
Well, this is a perfect time to be doing it. You need to be sitting with said son, put some headphones on your head, and then son can lay on your chest and you can play games.
That sounds good.
Cozy up.
Yeah. Well, I just did a game that, this is completely off topic, I did Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, fun!
And I loved that game growing up. I did play games growing up.
Oh, okay.
So I feel like I need to play that again. That would be fun. Anyway, back to performance capture.
Yes.
What advice would you give to other people listening that want to get into a similar field of performance capture? So say there's a young actress out there or older actress or whoever that wants to do what you're doing. What would you say? How do they... do they need an agent? Do they need specific performance capture skills? Do they need to be a gamer? What would you say is the number one piece of advice?
Train. You truly are your instrument in performance capture. They're not hiring you because you're cute. So
Yeah.
It's a meritocracy more than anything else in Hollywood. You know, they'll change the way you look. So it's all about your performance. And that means you better mean it. Better mean it.
Yeah, you can't
Get in class.
lie on that.
Get in class. Stay in class.
Great.
You know, these people who think like, and I say this to actors, period, you know, people who like want to act. I'm like, if you were a pianist, you would practice, right?
Yeah. It's
So
about the same.
what-
I say that as an athlete as well. I was an athlete before as an actor, and you don't stop.
No.
You train.
You train. And it's everything's a muscle. And it's an art form just like anything else. So and this is kind of goes back to that thing I was saying before. Is like we are not exclusionary, but we are gatekeepers. You know, like
the quality is just getting better and
better-
better and
yeah.
better. I mean, they are getting trained actors for this. There was a period of time back in the day of performance capture where stunts would do it, and people would have a different voice to the different body, to the different facial cut, and they would try and match it all together. Now they have the ability to have a solid performance from a great actor, and to bring it to life. So
Yeah, I mean, the level of work is just getting better and better. So, you know, just be about it.
I love that. And how can we find you on social media if we want to see all these exciting things that you're doing? You're in the morning show now with Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston.
True.
We want to play Star Wars Battlefront.
When will this come out?
This is coming out in January 2020.
Ooh, okay. So I have a movie coming out in
great.
March.
Okay.
With Ben Affleck. Gavin O'Connor directed it, and it's called The Way Back.
Right.
So
Okay. We'll look
hopefully
out for that.
everybody Will just be ready emotionally.
Okay.
So we really went to some places. But yeah, so there's that. And then on the medias, it's, you know, if you just search my first name, you'll probably find me, JANINA, across all things.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
We'll look for that blue tick, and we'll put you in we have the Performance Capture Podcast Instagram, so we'll
fab.
tag you in things, and
Fabulous.
I'm really
But if people out there are interested, you can totally send me, you know, questions on social media. I will answer all of them.
That's really kind of you. That's really great that you make time for that as
course.
well. We are so grateful to have had you on this podcast today. I am hugely just inspired by your work as a human being and as an actress and fellow
It's really kind of you to
kick-ass
say.
woman.
Yeah, thanks,
She's
girl.
today.
I didn't
wearing-
make life though. I mean, you made a life happen.
That was, I'm going to say, one of my best moments.
Yeah.
As a
Did
warrior.
you have that moment when you were like, I'm a superhero. I'm about to.
I didn't take any drugs.
Ooh, girl.
And so, yeah, I felt like a superhero. Anyway, that's another thing.
What is all this swag?
Now you get free Vicon swag just for showing up today.
You're so sweet.
Some really cool Vicon sunglasses.
Thank you
There we
so.
go. We have their magazine 2019 edition. You can read up because we know how much you love developers.
Pushing boundaries, celebrating 35 years in a motion capture industry.
Look at her in her British accent. I love it.
Look at her in a big house. I'm going to call you whenever I need to do it.
Please do. And I will call you for my American.
Great.
And here's a Vicon notepad
sweet of
for
you.
you.
Thank you.
And Troy Baker suggests we use that as a dream journal, but you can use it for anything you need.
Oh, Troy, you're not the boss of me.
Thank you so much for coming on. And
It's really nice to finally meet you.
I
too.
know, this is good. We'll have to hang out a lot more.
No, let's do it.
Okay, thank you. This recording was done by Formosa Interactive, a full-service post-production sound company. Among its many divisions, Formosa Group as a whole offers independent and AAA content creators end-to-end services, including voiceover, sound supervision, sound design, editorial, mixing and music for gaming, film, broadcast, and other platforms. Visit www.formosagroup.com for more information. Thank you to Soundbox LA for editing this episode.